Congratulations, you're in the market to buy a property. But before we take that step, here are the hidden costs associated with buying a property. With interest rates as high as they are, it's a no-brainer that budgeting for the home can be the differentiating factor between being able to get that dream home or feeling the dread of mounting financial pressures upon the closing process. It all comes down to having an open and honest conversation about what to expect in the buying process, and that's what my clients can expect working with me. While not all of these may apply to you, the goal of this video is to help you make an informed decision without any surprises. Hey, I'm Maulin Parikh with our Calgary home, your local real estate agent for Calgary and the surrounding areas. Oh, and before we dive in, do me a solid. Give that like button a little love and maybe just casually, just tap that subscribe button too. Let's get into this. Let's kick it off with the first contender on the expenses list, GST, aka the Goods and Services Tax. Here's the deal. If you're not swooping in for a shiny new construction, you can take a breather. This one is not for you. But hey, if you're setting your sights on a spanking new build, then listen up. This is where you factor in the GST. Now here's the good news. You won't be rummaging through your pockets for this one in most cases. Nope, it's kind of like a secret ingredient baked right into the overall home cost. You've got a clear picture of the total price tag right from the get-go. Coming in hot at number 2, we've got the mortgage default insurance. And let me tell you, this one's a real game changer, especially if you're part of the under 20% down payment crew. Brace yourselves, because for most homeowners, this cost right here can easily steal the spotlight. So picture this. You're going for a down payment that's less than 20%. And if down the line you find yourself struggling to keep up with those mortgage payments, chances are it's due to a drop in property value or the economy seen better days. Regardless of the why, mortgage insurance steps in like that superhero cape to protect the lenders from the dreaded scenario of not being able to swoop in and foreclose and flip the property to recover their investment. Now, here's the deal. It's an upfront cost, but hold up, don't sweat it just yet. More often than not, the sum gets tacked onto your mortgage, sparing you from the out-of-pocket sorrows. Now, let's run the numbers. Say we're rolling with a $350,000 mortgage and adding in another $10,000 for that mortgage insurance. That puts you at a grand total of $360,000. Now, here's where the math gets interesting. You're looking at an extra $45 per month on your payment to cover that mortgage insurance tab. But here's the scoop. Once that cash leaves your grasp, there's no turning back. It's a one-way street. Still, here's a quick heads up. The mortgage insurance tag is actually portable. So if you decide to dive into the property game again down the road, you might just be able to pack up that insurance and bring it along to your next real estate adventure. Let's dive into the third expense that comes into play when you're in the process of snagging a property and locking down a mortgage: legal fees. So here's the deal. You're going to need either a title insurance company or a lawyer to grease the wheels and make that transaction official. Now, these fees, they're kind of like seasoning on your financial plate. They can range anywhere from just a humble $500 upwards to over $2,500. But hold on, the digits depend on where you're at on the map. Oh, and don't forget, it's like a sliding scale. So the bigger the price tag on your property, you might see a bigger number on the legal bill. Smaller value, you guessed it, a friendlier figure. Now, here's the pro tip. When you're all set to lock in that property or saddle up with a mortgage, don't just pick the first lawyer you find on the block. No, please. Ring up a couple lawyers in town and get some quotes. Now, it's not about grabbing the bargain basement deal. You're after that sweet spot combo, kind of like a lawyer with a rock solid rep, but then also a cost that doesn't make you sweat bullets. It's like building the ultimate burger, but with legal stuff. All right, let's talk about what goes down if you're skipping on mortgage insurance because you're dropping more than 20% down payment. You might find yourself facing an appraisal fee. Hang on. There are two flavors of this fee. First up, we've got the automated appraisal fee, which is ideally like a digital dance. It'll like set you back $70 to $100. Here's the deal though. Lenders use their tech to ping the value of the property you're eyeing against their own valuation systems. So if things are matching up, you're looking at a bill of, maximum $100 and it's front loaded onto your mortgage. Next up, it's the full appraisal. So this one's got a price tag of anywhere between $300 to $500. You can also give or take based on the location of the country. Oh, and if you're gunning for some really high-end real estate, that bill might shoot even higher. A bona fide appraiser gets down and dirty, snapping pictures, measuring the property, and ensuring the property's value checks out 100%. Now, I know you might look at the appraisal bill and go, whoa, that's no small chunk of change. But here's the kicker. Stack it up against a 10 grand insurance premium, and suddenly it's not so massive. Just note, the appraisal usually does not tag on to the tippy top of your mortgage. Most times, if you've got a fat 20% down payment, you can handle the rest of the hit on the appraisal. But hey, keep it on your radar as a possible cost if you're swinging down the big down payment. Bottom line, it's all about the lender ensuring they've got their bases covered. So, if for some wild reason you can't make those payments down the road, they can swoop in, foreclose, and flip the property to get their cash back on their investment. Land transfer taxes. Now, here's the deal. In every province except for Alberta and Saskatchewan, there's this thing called land transfer taxes. Now, I won't dive super deep into the nitty-gritty here, but here's the move. Pop open your web browser, punch in your province name, and toss in land transfer tax. You'll get the scoop on what you're looking for. The numbers, my friends, well, they can dance anywhere between 1% to 2%. And let me tell you, they can balloon up to a hefty chunk of change depending on the coordinates in this great country of ours and what kind of real estate you're locking down. But wait, in Alberta, there's a twist. They've got these things called land transfer fees and mortgage registration fees, which are a bit different. Now, these fees, they're not as weighty as the full-on land transfer tax. They're more like a mini version. What do they do? Well, to make sure your property title goes from one owner to the next without a hitch. Let's talk insurance. That thing you definitely don't want to overlook when you're diving into the world of property purchases. Now, here's the lowdown. When you're picking up a house, fire insurance is like the VIP ticket, mandatory and all. But hold up. If you're rolling with a condo, it's a bit of a different story. Technically, you're not forced to snag insurance, but here's where it gets interesting. We're waving the recommendation flag like crazy for condo ownership content insurance. Why, you ask? Well, imagine this scenario. Something goes down in your pad, or even worse, your place becomes the epicenter of a domino effect that spills onto other units. Suddenly, you could be stuck dealing with the bill for the condo corporation's insurance deductible. Or, if things go really south, the whole cost of the land could step at your doorstep. So, here's the golden rule. Insurance is your wingman. Whether you're sliding into a house or sliding into a condo, it's your shield, your protector, your safety net. And trust me, out of everything we've talked about today, this is the big kahuna takeaway. Get yourself some insurance. Don't fall into the trap of assuming that condo life means you're covered. You want to roll with a safety net that's got your back when it comes to your stuff. Accidents, or even potential mess ups that might point your way. Next up, moving costs. Now, you've got some options here. It could be range from zilch, nada, if you're doing the heavy lifting yourself, all the way up to a couple $1,000s if you're enlisting the services of some of these moving maestros. These days, it's not uncommon to see folks trading the cost of a pizza and a round of beers for their buddies to help them move. I mean, with inflation though, the least I could get is probably a charcuterie board and some wine, right? But hold up. If you're the proud owner of a sizable crib, or you've accumulated more stuff than you can share a stick at, it's time to mull over the pros. Yeah, I'm talking about the professional movers. Trust me. Once you've wrangled a mountain of possessions, or just some precious cargo, doing that DIY shuffle gets old real quick. That's when the experts step in. They're like the superheroes of hauling. effortlessly hefting your couch and TV stand and loading them up without a single scratch. Oh, and the art of truck Tetris. Believe me, it's a skill. You wouldn't believe how much strategy goes into stacking a truck to ensure nothing takes a tumble. That's where the big league movers shine. And let me tell you, every single penny you spend on these pros is worth it. So whether it's the DIY hustle or the A-team of movers, choose your move wisely, my friends. If you're diving into the world of condos, guess what? You're about to meet your new buddy, condo fees. Let me tell you, it's crucial to get cozy with what these fees are right from the start. Accuracy is key. So what's the deal with these condo fees, you ask? Well, think of them as like your all-inclusive pass to a bunch of upkeep stuff. So think maintenance, cleaning, shoveling snow like a champ, and keeping those lawns looking pristine. But that's not all, especially in some corners of the map. In certain provinces, you'll come across what's known as a reserve fund. Think of it as a stash that every condo owner chips into for the future. We're talking about upcoming fixes, renovations, and making sure that the place stays on point down the road. So, whether you're in a condo or owning one, get cozy with these fees, the what's and the why's, and you'll be riding the condo wave like a pro. All right, here's a nugget of wisdom you'll want to keep in mind when you're in the house hunting game. Home inspections. Yeah, it's the real MVP move. These home inspectors, worth their weight in gold. You're looking at a ballpark range of about $350 upwards to $550. And trust me, every single penny is an investment in peace of mind. Why, you ask? Well, these folks have a superpower, and they can spot stuff in a property that you might miss. Stuff that could turn into issues down the line. And guess what? They're not just eyeballing it. Many of them rock these nifty infrared cameras. These gizmos can pretty much sniff out any leaks that usually play hide and go seek. Plus, inspectors, well, they're like this encyclopedia of house knowledge. From hot water heaters to furnaces and the lifespans of different parts, they've got it all down pat. Now, you know what that means. Potential savings stacked up for your future self. Oh, and here's the kicker. They're not just there to point out stuff. If they do find something wonky, you can actually use their insights as ammo to negotiate that price tag down. So remember, when you're about to seal the deal on a home, getting a home inspector on your team, absolute game changer. If you're diving into the world of rural properties or snagging some acreage, there's a chance you might need a septic or well inspection in the mix. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Sometimes the sellers foot the bill for these inspections, and sometimes it's on you, the buyer. Yeah, it's like a coin toss on who pays. Keep in mind, this inspection game could be a sneaky little cost to tag on to your property purchase. Oh, but wait, there's more. Let's talk about survey fees. In the realm of Alberta, and hey, I can't speak for the whole country, but sellers will typically cover these fees. It's what they call a real property report, and it's tucked into the Alberta Real Estate Association's contracts. But hold up. This is where things change gear. If you're looking at a property that's being sold as is, like a foreclosure or a bank-owned deal, guess what? These costs just did 180 degrees and they're coming right your way. But the plot thickens. You see, condo docs, in most cases, are usually the seller's court, the seller's problem, not yours. That's usually the deal. Yet, hold on to your hat, because if you're diving into the deep end with the bank-owned foreclosure property, guess who might be footing that condo document bill? That's right, you. It all boils down to what's inked into your purchase contract. So, if you're in the midst of this labyrinth, tap your realtor on the shoulder and have a chat. You'll thank me later. Or better yet, tap me on the shoulder. Let's talk property taxes. They're like the second to last boss you gotta face in a video game. Many times, the previous owner might have gone ahead and fronted those property taxes in advance. Now your job is you're going to have to pay them back for that kindness. No worries though, the legal wizards will crunch through the numbers for you, and they'll figure out exactly what you owe to the seller for those prepaid taxes. Now, brace yourself, because there's a chance you might need to rustle up some cash to give back to the seller for those taxes they've already gone ahead and forked over. A payout penalty. Remember when we kicked off the video? I promised to break down all these sneaky little costs that come with buying a property. And we've reached the grand finale. The cost that's like the plot twist you never saw coming. Where's that drum roll, by the way? The bank's penalty. Strap in, because here's the deal. When you're diving into a property ownership, that mortgage you're grabbing, well, it's like making a pact with the interest rate gods. You're either committing to playing the game with them for a good while, or you're setting yourself up for a penalty showdown. And here's a stat that might drop your jaw. A whopping 60% of Canadians don't make it through their full mortgage term. Yeah, that's right. 6 out of 10 folks hit a fork in the mortgage road. Now, picture this. You're going for a 5-year fixed mortgage at one of the big banking giants. Well, odds are this might be the biggie in terms of expenses. And guess what? There's a 60% chance this will be your battle. So it's like a mortgage penalty ambush waiting to happen. You've got to be a chess master and think long-term strategy when you're picking your mortgage and sealing the deal on your property. Well, the name of the game is risk reduction. Because let me tell you, when folks want to tango with their mortgage or put their property on the market, these penalties, well, they swoop in like equity-eating vultures. And it's like handing your hard-earned money back to the bank. If you've been vibing with this video, soaking in the real talk and the transparency, and trust me, that's how I roll. Here's the deal. Help me out and smack that subscribe button. Give that notification bell a satisfying tap, and yep, you've guessed it. Got to show love to that like button a little bit. That way, we're spreading love and the knowledge to all the awesome folks out there just like you. I'll catch you in the next one.